I'm all ready to go, yeah.
Hello, Alan, and welcome back to the book club with our book, My Cousin Rachel. Are you ready?
Fantastic. Yes, good. I'm looking forward to reading another chapter because it's getting quite interesting now. And
Yes,
here we
because
are.
she's quite devious, no?
Yes, absolutely.
Devious, cunning, because as our male character is not very mature in ladies, no, so he doesn't really know how to behave with a lady, and she's quite devious, isn't she? So I will let you start, Alan.
Yes,
Off
you
you
carry
go
on,
with the
yes.
reading. So
Right.
chapter 9, off you go.
We open Ambrose's boxes. Now it was October, but the weather was fine and my cousin Rachel was able to work in the garden. We also had time to visit the tenants on the estate. They all loved my cousin Rachel. When they were ill, she gave them medicines made from herbs. Sometimes in the afternoons, our neighbors came to our house. Sometimes my cousin Rachel went to visit them. I enjoyed listening to her dinner. My cousin Rachel told me about the people she had seen during the day. She always made me laugh. But at the end of the month, the weather changed. Rain fell every day. There was no gardening and no visiting. One morning, my cousin Rachel and I were standing at the library window. Outside, the rain was falling heavily. Then Seacombe reminded us about Ambrose's boxes. They were still in my room and had never been emptied. We began to open the boxes. The first box we opened was full of Ambrose's clothes. Suddenly, my cousin Rachel was crying. Then she was in my arms, her head against my chest.
Wow. Right, okay, just a minute. Oh, Philip, I'm so sorry, she said, but we both loved him so much. I moved my lips against her hair. Don't worry, Rachel, I said. I'll do this. It was the first time I had called her by her name. She stopped crying and we continued to unpack the boxes. We decided to give Ambrose's clothes to the tenants on the estate. Then we began to look at the books. As I opened a book on gardening, a piece of paper fell out. It looked like a part of a letter written by Ambrose. She could not stop spending money, I read. It is like an illness. If this goes on, my dear Philip, she will spend everything. You must take candle in case. What have you there? My cousin Rachel said suddenly. That is Ambrose's writing. Now, how could you explain to me the word tenant on the estate?
They rent property from a landlord. The person owns them, but they only rent them. They don't own them, so they pay a sum of money every week or month to be able to live there. They are tenants.
So, if we go back to the 18th century, we had noblemen who had lots of land on an estate, and then they divided it and rented it to tenants. So this is where this word comes from, to explain to our viewers, to make it easier for them to understand. So here we have a picture, and they're opening Ambrose's boxes, which have come from Italy. after his death. We see Rachel looking at the books, and then we see him reading a piece of paper which he finds in one of the books.
It's nothing, I said, and threw the piece of paper on the fire. We continued our work in silence. That morning, some boxes had arrived for my cousin Rachel from London. New dresses, perhaps. I remembered the words in Ambrose's letter. It's like an illness. She will spend everything. After dinner, we went to the library as usual. The most beautiful blue and gold cloth lay over the chairs. Do you like it, Philip? My cousin Rachel asked. It's Italian. It will make beautiful curtains for your room. Isn't it very expensive? I asked. Well, yes, but that isn't important. If you like it, take it as a present from me. I thought unhappily about the letter, but I could say nothing. As we sat by the fire, my cousin Rachel began talking about her life in Italy. She spoke of the time before she had met Ambrose. I was listening with the greatest interest when she suddenly said, "What was that on the paper you threw in the fire, Philip?"
She never misses anything. And even though she may not say anything in that instant, she will remember it for later, no? To ask
Yes,
about that.
Yes.
How can we explain to the viewers, if I say something to you, I could plant like a seed of doubt in your mind. Can you say it like that in English?
Well, through her observations, she could see that Philip had done something but didn't discuss it with her. And she was thinking, I doubt, why is he not explained to me what he's just done? I doubt there's something, I'm going to use a bit fishy going on, something that is not absolutely correct. And so she's doubting what he's done. But of course, all will be revealed as time goes on.
Yeah. So it was a little fishy. That's what we could say. A little fishy, the way he read the letter and then he destroyed it instantly in the fire. It was from a letter, I said. Ambrose was worried about money. I can't remember exactly. The worried look went from Rachel's eyes. Was that all? She said. Poor Ambrose. He did not understand life in Italy. He thought I spent too much money. He was very generous until he became ill, and then he changed so much. How did he change? I asked. When I wanted money for the house, he became very angry. In the end, I had to ask Rinaldi for money to pay for the servants. When Ambrose found out, he refused to have Rinaldi in the house. It was a terrible time. I did not want to tell you about it, Philip. Ambrose was so ill. He trusted no one. You wouldn't have known him. That is all over now, I said. Don't make yourself unhappy. You cannot bring Ambrose back. This is your home now. My cousin Rachel looked into my eyes. You are so like him, she said. Sometimes I'm afraid you must not change too. Is there a name for a person who spends too much?
Spendthrift.
Spendthrift is a person that spends...
Spendthrift. Spend money like water.
Ah, right. What's another expression? You think money grows on trees.
Oh, right. That was my mum always used to tell me that. Do you think I'm going down the garden and just pick a few fibers off the tree down the garden? You must be joking.
So we have two words, two expressions there. Spendthrift. Spendthrift is someone that spends money. What was the one with water?
Spend money like water.
Spend money like water, like it's constantly coming, no? And
Yeah.
you think money grows on trees because
Oh,
you
money,
are so
yes,
busy
yes.
spending.
I even use that today, even.
And do you spend money on something? Do you have a weakness for spending money?
Oh no, I'm very frugal actually at the moment. Must be a phase I'm going through, but no, I'm very careful. I don't like to overspend. I hate to be in debt. It worries me.
I think we were brought up that way, no? We were
Must
brought
be,
up to
maybe.
spend what we have and not to
But,
think of more.
if I know I can't afford it, I'd sooner be without it, you know, rather than overspend. It's crazy, but that's my philosophy.
Right. Okay. Continue reading, Alan.
I took her hands in mine. I will never change, I said. And we must remember Ambrose as he used to be. This house belongs to the three of us now. You are very good to me, Philip, my cousin Rachel said, as she moved to the door. I hope that one day you will be happy, as I was with Ambrose at the beginning. She went to bed and I sat alone by the library fire. My terrible jealousy had returned, but now I was jealous of Ambrose. I was jealous because of love that my cousin Rachel had given him.
Right. So chapter 10.
Oh, fascinating.
I think that the writer, Daphne, has a good imagination, no? Because if you think, I don't know, I have the impression that women in those times didn't have a lot of experience with romance and love lives, no? But they seem to make the books interesting without getting into too much detail. It's
Yes,
the triangle, no?
that's right.
A Christmas present. In the past, I had always disliked the winter. But with my cousin Rachel in the house, things were very different. When I was with my cousin Rachel, I was happy. When she was away from the house, I was bored. Life was dull and uninteresting until she returned. Like everyone else, I now thought that my cousin Rachel was beautiful. Whenever she came into a room, she made it a happier, more interesting place. In the evening, we sat together in a small sitting room. We drank Tisane. I suppose this is a kind of wine, I'm not sure.
Tisane, I've never heard of it, no.
Tisane. Thanks for the correction.
No idea.
Tisane, as she and Ambrose had done in Florence. The evening were the best times, but when I went to my room, I could not sleep. Any day, perhaps my cousin Rachel would decide to go to London. If she left me, I would feel terribly alone. When Ambrose had been at home, he had always given dinner to the tenants on Christmas Eve. This year, I decided to do the same. My cousin Rachel was very pleased. At once, she began to make preparations. Packages arrived from London, presents perhaps. She began to plan the Christmas meal.
One thing worried me. What could I give my cousin Rachel for a present? I thought about it for a long time, and at last I had an idea. I remembered the jewels that belonged to my family. They were kept in the bank for safety. In 3 months' time, on my birthday, They would be mine. But I did not want to wait that long. And I remembered that Nick Kendall had gone to London. I went to the bank that day and asked the manager to show me the Ashley jewels. They were very beautiful, blue, green, and red. But my cousin Rachel always wore black. She could not wear coloured jewels with mourning clothes. Then I saw the colour of pearls. How beautiful the white pearls would look on my cousin Rachel's neck. Your mother was the last woman to wear this collar, the manager said. All the brides of Ashley family wear it on their wedding day. I put out my hand and took the collar. I will take this with me, I said. Do they know what mourning clothes are? Mourning clothes.
I think it's to do with when someone dies.
When there's a death, you wear, well, you tend to wear black, which are known as mourning clothes, yes.
Right, so it's written differently. Let's see if I can go back. Here we are, M-O-U-R-N, morning.
Yes, morning,
but it's when
morning
it
clothes.
Sounds like good morning. No, it sounds the same. So when you said it at first, I was thinking, sorry. So to mourn is to be sad about someone's death.
Yes, you're mourning, yes.
So you would be in mourning. Before there was different traditions. We could spend years in mourning.
Absolutely.
Now it's only for a short time. So the mourning clothes would be dark colours. The women, I can't remember, but they used to wear them for a long time, the black clothes. Then they would go to a dark grey. And then they would change the colour depending on the year. And some women never came out of black because after one person died a few years, another person died. So they were always in black, no? So if we look at the traditions many years ago, we would have seen this reflected, no, in films or in books. The manager looked worried. The pearls are not yours until the 1st of April, he said. I don't think Mr. Kendall would like you to take them away. I'll speak to Mr. Kendall, I said. I put the collar in its box and stood up. I knew the pearls were the right present for my cousin Rachel. I felt very excited. Then at last it was Christmas Eve. Seacombe had brought a tree into the house and had decorated it as usual. Dinner was to start at 5. After dinner, everybody would have a present. This year, my cousin Rachel was going to give out the presents with me. Before I dressed for dinner, I sent the collar of pearls to her room. With it was a note. My mother was the last woman to wear this. Now it belongs to you. I want you to wear it tonight and always. Philip. When I was ready, I went downstairs and waited for my cousin Rachel. She came in slowly. Her dress was black, but it was one I had never seen before. The collar of pearls were round her neck. I had never seen her look so beautiful, not so happy or so beautiful. She put her arms around me, then she kissed me. Oh dear. She kissed me not as a cousin, but as a lover. This is what Ambrose died for, I thought. And for this, I would happily die too.
I noticed they use the word colour, whereas we would use the word necklace. So the colour of pearls I would have said it was a necklace of pearls, but
right.
Maybe.
I thought collar would be thicker.
Yeah,
necklace would be
think
one strand.
Wearing around a man's shirt, a collar.
Yes, but I thought it would be like 2 or 3 strands of pearls together.
Oh, well, yes, it could be. Yes. Yeah.
So you could be
a
right.
string of pearls is another word we use.
Yeah, a string of pearls is one. A
Yeah.
necklace is one, and a
Double
collar,
or
I would
double.
imagine, is various. But we could be wrong. We could always be corrected because we haven't seen the picture.
No.
But what I'm realizing, Philip is under her spell
Oh.
already. He's feeling jealousy and he would do anything. So here we are, right. Here she is. Can you see here, Alan? It's quite high up. Can you see
Yes,
on the picture? So it is a collar.
I can't see other than the picture with all the people in the room.
Yes, well, look at her, Rachel. She's next to Philip. Here, look at my arrow moving up and down. And round her neck is a collar of pearls, and it's quite thick.
I can't see your arrow anywhere.
Oh, well, just take my word for it then.
Yeah.
So she's wearing a collar of pearls
Oh,
because
yes,
it's about thick.
oh, it is a collar, literally worn tight around the neck as opposed to slightly on the chest, if you like, then, yes. Oh, well, yes, it would be a collar of pearls. You don't see them much these days. It's usually in the form of a necklace. Oh, right,
Yeah.
necklace, lace. Yeah. All right.
So off you go, Alan. Let's continue.
She gave me her hand and we walked into dinner. At first, I thought this was going to be the biggest, the happiest evening of my life. I remembered the food, the noise, and the excitement. My cousin Rachel had bought everyone a present, carefully chosen. Mine was a gold chain for my keys with our initials, R-A-R-A, hanging from it. Our plates and glasses were filled, emptied and filled again. Then we gave everyone a present from the tree. When dinner was over, I spoke to my godfather, Nick Kendall, for the first time that evening. Good evening, sir, and a happy Christmas, said Nick. Kendall looked angry and he said nothing. He was staring at the collar of pearls around my cousin's neck. Then at last the tenants had all left. Louise and my cousin Rachel went upstairs, and I found myself alone with my godfather.
I have some bad news from the bank, he said. The manager tells me that Mrs. Ashley is already several £100 overdrawn. I don't understand it. She must be sending money back to Italy. Now, for our viewers, overdrawn, Alan, how would you explain that?
You've taken money out that doesn't belong to you. You've overspent. Okay, if the bank are generous, they will give you an overdraft on the condition that you pay the money back. But it depends on your financial status.
So, overdrawn is when you spend more money than you have actually in your account.
That's right.
So,
yes.
If we remember correctly, cousin Rachel has an allowance every month, but she has spent more than this allowance. She's very generous, I said, and there were debts in Florence, I think. You must give Mrs. Ashley more money. So he's making excuses for her because he is in love with her. Nick Kendall looked unhappy. There is something else, Philip, he said. You should not have taken that collar of pearls. It's not yours. It will be mine in 3 months' time, I said quickly. My cousin Rachel will take care of it. I'm not so sure, Nick Kendall said. I've been hearing stories about Mrs. Ashley and her first husband. They were both well known for their bad lives. They spent money carelessly. That can't be true, I cried. True or not, my godfather replied, I'm afraid that collar must go back to the bank. But I gave it to my cousin as a present. She has a right to wear the collar.
He's in hot water now. Only if Ambrose had lived, Nick Kendall said. That collar of pearls is worn by the Ashley bride, no one else. If you do not ask Mrs. Ashley to give it back, I will. Then suddenly my cousin Rachel and Louise walked into the room. You are quite right, Mr. Kendall, my cousin Rachel said. I am very proud to wear the collar, and now I shall give it back. And she took off the collar and gave it to my godfather. Thank you, Mrs. Ashley, he said. And now, Louise, I must go. We wish you both a happy Christmas. When they had gone, my cousin Rachel held out her arms. I went up to her. I'm so sorry, I said. Everything had gone wrong. My mother wore those pearls on her wedding day. That is why I wanted you to have them. Don't you understand? Of course I do, Philip, dear, she said. If Ambrose and I had been married here, we would have given them, he would have given them to me on my wedding day. I said nothing. My cousin Rachel had not understood. I was thinking of another wedding day, a wedding day in the future.
I think we would say he's jumping the gun.
Yes, until next time, we won't know. But yes, she's obviously there's a lot of past history to this woman that he doesn't know about, but all will be revealed given time.
So if I say you are jumping the gun,
Yeah.
what does that mean?
You're looking ahead too far, that you don't have the facts.
Right. So I should be more patient.
Well, yeah, I think we all at times jump the gun about something. We're so anxious. We're absolutely certain that whatever is going to happen will happen. But sometimes that doesn't turn out that way. And you've jumped the gun. Some will say, you jumped the gun, Alan. You shouldn't have done that, or you shouldn't have said that.
Right then, Alan. So we have read 2 more chapters. I hope you've liked it. It's still interesting, and we still don't know what actually is going to happen. So let's say goodbye until next time.
Sure.
Bye.
Okay. Lovely. Thank you.